Hello, fellow nerds, and welcome to Our Nerdiest Thing. Today, we are continuing our discussion of Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver. It's book 2 of the Ruinous Love Trilogy. We're talking about chapters 6 through 9. And before we get into it, Deb, please tell us everything about our nerdiest cocktail.
Everything.
All the details.
About how I never drink soda, and this is so fucking good.
It really is.
Yeah. Tonight's drink is named the Glitter Bomb, and it's themed after revenge pranks. It pairs well with jealousy, knee-jerk reactions, and alley confrontations, and it may cause you to threaten to slice a bitch's face off, like we all do. It's got rum, Coke, ginger, and like glitter in it. It's so fucking pretty. It deserves a cold star.
It's
Yes,
really
it does.
good. Yeah, it's really good. Well done.
I like
well
it.
done, Mindy.
It's like a not as sweet rum and Coke. I think the ginger,
Like ginger
cuts the
gives
sweetness.
it a little spiciness, but it does have cherry in it too.
Yeah,
So it's,
Yeah.
and it glitters.
It's sweet enough for me, and I like really sweet
Yeah.
drinks, you know?
Yeah.
It's good. Bravo.
Good
Bravo.
job. Good job, Mindy.
Well, that brings us to our nerdy and dirty recap. The wheel has spoken.
Yes.
I feel like we should just call it that. The wheel has spoken. Mindy, whose name has
we
been
get to
spoken?
hear from Deb this week.
Ooh, I've not done it in a while.
I know. I feel like it's been me the past like 80 times.
I was afraid it was actually going to be me, and I was just thinking, oh no.
So for newer listeners, I have 30 seconds to give a recap of chapters 6 through 9 of Leather and Lark. And there was a lot.
There's a lot that
Oh, my
happens.
goodness, yes.
Yeah, there is a lot.
So
Are you ready?
Good luck to me.
Yeah.
Hang on to your butts.
And go.
Okay, Lachlan stares at Sloane's tits and Rowan balls like the sweet man he is as Lachlan walks her down the aisle. Sloane and Rowan's wedding napkins have melting ice cream on them. Lark proposes marriage to Lachlan. Lark makes a gold glitter coffee table out of resin and a pedophile. Lark is not all excited about her wedding day, but Lachlan whispers something dreamy to her in Irish before he kisses her. We find out that Lark is claustrophobic, and Lachlan feels like a feckin' idiot for locking her up in his trunk. Sloane tells Lachlan to read a romance book to learn how to be around Lark. Lark meets who she thinks is Lachlan's ex and follows her to slice her face off. We find out that this face slicey actually broke Finn's heart.
I know.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
I did all right.
You did.
I like how I hold the 5 seconds up, and
And
when
you're
it's,
like, no.
you're always like, hold on. I'm like, well, I'm gonna tell you.
Not done yet.
I'm not gonna like shout over you, but I am gonna let you know that the time is up.
That's why you control the clock and I don't, because I'd be like, no, you're fucking done.
Quit
You're
talking.
done. Those are the rules. God.
That reminds me of the time that we were in Chicago for, I think it was for Supernatural Con, and you were driving, Deb, and there was this one lady, and you were just trying to drive, like, and I guess she like kind of like eased your way out. Do you remember this? And the lady,
No.
like, the lady in the car puts her hand up, and then does her finger, and she's like, "Stop!" Like, and you were
What
like,
did I say?
And you were like, "Fuck you!"
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
You know what else came up in my Facebook memories today is us going to the 80s costume party at the Supernatural Con where you unzipped me
I
in front
did
of
unzip
everyone. You're like, you look sexy. And she unzipped my skeleton onesie down to the belly
I wanted her
button.
to be
Ooh.
sexier.
And I have really small tits. So
Was this karaoke?
yeah,
It was a karaoke night.
How
But
did
she
I
was
know?
like, she's like, you look fucking sexy, and just like unzipped my pajamas.
We might have pre-gamed quite a bit that day.
Show me your tits.
That was the night we got into the elevator because we had pregame to go to karaoke, and these guys looked at us and they were talking to each other and they go, lit like a Christmas tree. Because we were drunk enough that we were like giggly in the elevator.
It was fun.
I know that's
Oh,
shocking
man.
to you.
I can't believe that.
I know. We never do that kind of stuff.
I know, right? Well, before we get into the nitty and gritty of this section, Mindy, will you please share our nerdiest vocabulary?
I will. I've got an array tonight.
Ooh.
So I've got one Irish like pronunciation that was very surprising to me, and then I've got the two things I promised last week that I didn't do that I was going to do this
That
week.
I was really sad about.
I
'cause
know.
They were
I
my
felt
questions.
like
I was like,
such
what do these words
felt
mean?
like such an idiot. I felt like a feckin' idiot.
A bellend.
I was a bellend. So the first one is the word Craic.
Craig.
It's actually pronounced crack.
Crack. Spell it again.
Craic.
yeah, I don't
And
think I
it
would say
means
crack.
an enjoyable social activity or a good time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Let's go to the crack.
Let's go to crack.
How do you really use it in a sentence?
I think that they were talking about the wedding and saying that was a great crack.
Yeah, or like
Yeah.
this is a real crack or something
yeah.
like that.
Anywhere where I talk about a crack, I mean, it's dark and dirty.
Well, I was going to say all I can think of is an ass.
Yeah, I was
exactly.
going to say it sounds like,
Like my ass.
rims. Yeah.
Ooh.
I don't.
Don't worry, that's coming later in this book too.
Oh man.
So the other two were, first of all, the name Meadowlark, which is actually a bird. And these birds are known for their beautiful songs, and they're often associated with, these are the things they're associated with: morning, springtime, cheer, and hope. And I feel like that's definitely what lark like presents to people.
Portrays, yeah.
Right? And then this was kind of a cool little tidbit. Many indigenous peoples connect meadowlarks with peace, loyalty, and friendship, which also tracks.
yeah.
Lark is very loyal.
Yes.
Yeah.
A visit from a meadowlark is often seen as a good luck omen. And male meadowlarks are very protective and territorial. So
Interesting.
Lachlan
is a male.
is a hidden meadowlark.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, Lark is definitely more dangerous than Lachlan is.
Absolutely.
If
Yes.
we're being honest
Yes,
about it.
absolutely.
Because he is definitely a sociopath and she is a psychopath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. So the last one is Leviathan. And this is Leander's company name.
Yeah.
And we know that Lachlan works for him. And this word comes from a root meaning twist, turn, wind, or coil. Which I couldn't figure out like how that like went together.
Well, and we know that Leviathans are in like a biblical
There's a
thing,
lore.
too.
Yeah. So it's generally used to describe a sea monster that fears no one and is feared by everyone. And that I felt like sort of envelops the spirit of Leviathan and Leander's company.
Yeah.
It is mentioned in the Bible several times, including in Psalms as a multi-headed sea monster that God kills and gives to the Hebrews in the wilderness to eat. And then again in Revelation as the beast that comes up out of the sea.
And we see them in Supernatural.
I was going to say, and in supernatural lore, as we know, they are a race of ancient primordial monsters that served as God's very first beasts. And the creatures are too hungry and destructive, so God creates purgatory and locks them inside there.
They're black and gooey.
They are black and going to have lots of teeth.
They do.
and they can like pretty much reanimate no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not
a
you
little
don't
bit
really-
unkillable.
Yes.
I mean, he killed Dick. Well, we're getting off onto a whole different episode, so I'm just going to stop
It's a
there.
whole season arc.
I know, right? We could do a whole season on Leviathan.
Yeah. Maybe we will.
we might. We may get there.
Well, thank you for that vocabulary, Mindy.
You're welcome.
Let's get into our favorite moments from this section of Leather and Lark. What did you guys like?
I have a lot of things that were my favorite this time. And I know I'm usually like, no, only one. Follow the rules. But I actually have 3 things. Okay.
Well, that's not a lot.
That's not a lot.
only
That's a
3.
lot for me.
Well,
It is a lot.
Yeah.
okay.
So I swooned when we find out that what Lachlan whispered to Rowan's ear at 3 and Coach the first time he met Sloane. He said, "That girl is too good for you, asshat, but she loves you anyway. Don't fuck it up."
Oh,
Yeah.
love
And
it.
because
sweet.
I was you think Lachlan is whispering something mean in his ear,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
who the fuck is that or something
Or
like
dirty.
that. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I like seeing that tender side of
know.
as tender as Lachlan can be.
Yeah.
calling
He is
his
sweet.
brother an asshat.
Yeah.
I also loved Sloane telling Lachlan to read a romance book to learn how to be around women. And she says, it's literally an instruction manual for dumbasses like you.
Yeah.
And then finally, Sloane and Lark become sister-in-laws.
Yeah, that's sweet.
I know, I was
That is
thinking, I was
sweet.
like, first of all, I love my family gatherings. I have a great family. You all know that. But if one of you all were my sister-in-laws and you were always going to be there, it
I
would
know.
be top notch.
That would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
We would
sweet.
get really drunk and
We might
probably
as
get
well
in trouble.
be.
Yeah, kind of going along with them becoming sisters-in-law. I the whole wedding sequence I really enjoyed a lot. I didn't remember that section of Leather and Lark starts off exactly where the bonus chapter from Butcher and Blackbird leaves off, because
Yeah.
the bonus chapter ends with her walking out with Lachlan, and
Yeah.
that's exactly where we started. I didn't make that connection, I guess, the first time that we read, but I just like that detail. And I love Rowan's like sobbing while Sloane walks down the aisle. Like he cannot hold it together.
He
I think
cannot
that's-
keep his shit
yeah,
together.
That's
I love
really,
it.
really sweet. And I love too that Lachlan knows that Sloane needs a little bit of encouragement in that moment before they like get close enough to see Rowan, and he gives her that support and encouragement that she needs, right? And like makes her feel better about everything. And the obvious connection that Lachlan has with Lark, even though she is like, I don't like you, I know you don't like me, like stay away from me, he is like constantly looking at her. He's constantly thinking about where she is and what she's doing and what she's thinking and what she looks like, and like thinks she's pretty, and like he's obsessed with her already. And I just really like that a lot. I like Lachlan.
I really, really liked the whole wedding scene as well. And in particular, Lachlan walking Sloane down the aisle and just that whole conversation they have as they're going. I just love seeing that side of him, because I picture him as this like big burly guy, right?
Yeah.
And then to see that softness in him, I don't know, there's something really sweet about that.
Also, whenever I feel like when Sloane accuses him of looking at her tits, he's like, please don't kill me. Please don't murder me. For the love of God, I swear I wasn't. But he like totally was, right? But she has gold star tits. What's he supposed to do?
Right, of course. Well, that brings us to least favorite moments. Not as fun.
I wonder if we all have the same one.
I don't know. What were yours?
Mine was Lark being terrified and having a panic attack in the elevator.
That was not mine.
It makes me wonder more what that fucker did to her in the boarding school. Yeah. And she's so worked up about being in the dark with like a male. She's literally hunched in the corner and won't get out with Lachlan in the dark because she's so scared. And I love that she calls Rose and like she kind of helps talk her down and stuff.
Yeah.
But all three of us live with anxiety and depression, and panic attacks are a real thing and very, very scary. And you almost feel like you're outside of your own body. And Mindy almost just knocked over the whole table.
You're talking about panic attacks, and I almost had one. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, it just if you live with anxiety, I think that really resonates with you.
Yeah.
And that was mine as well. Just Lark's claustrophobia and that whole scene. And like, I know why she doesn't trust Lachlan, but he just really wants to be there for her, and she pushes him away. And so like, not only did I like hate that she was going through that, but it made me sad for him also.
Yeah, I feel bad for him, but at the same time, I kind of love that, because he, in my opinion, I think he deserves to suffer a little bit with her. Like, he needs to earn her trust and affection.
Absolutely.
And she definitely makes him do that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that a lot. That it's not just
Insta-love.
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden, like, yes, I'll let you comfort me in this situation.
Because they have a chemistry. We know that, but it's all physical. There's no trust there.
Yeah, I enjoyed that moment. But that was not my least favorite moment, actually. Mine was just a very small moment when Lark is killing the predatory teacher, like entombing him in the coffee table. And he is, trying to argue with her and like talk his way out of it, basically, as one would do. And there's this tiny little sentence where Lark tells the teacher, I can't remember what his name is, Patrick, Andrew, I don't remember. Yeah, whatever his name was. She says, don't bother asking God. He never answered me either.
Oh,
and that to me, that's just a heartbreaking moment, first of all. But it's also a great example of Bryn Weaver's ability to take a really short sentence and it tells you like years worth.
How hopeless she feels. Because I think if like lack of faith in anything shows a deep level of hopelessness. Like it doesn't matter if your faith is in God or in whatever or who your God may be, but having no faith is a deep depression, I feel like.
But it's also what comes before that hopelessness is a hope that it'll stop. You know what I mean? Like you have hope until you don't have it anymore. And like, how long did that take? And how many, as a kid, as a teenager, or a young adult or whatever, how many times did she like cry out to anybody, like begging for the situation to change?
Damn,
and
it just made me cry.
Right. But I mean, that one tiny sentence kind of tells you that all of that happened. And now it has led to the way that she is now.
I just read these books because they're funny.
But that's just really good. It's really good storytelling. And, not just for Lark, but also it made me think of just survivors of abuse in real life, because that is the experience of so many survivors and victims of abuse.
I mean, there's a lot of like, how could that have happened to me type of feeling, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But so that's a bummer.
Yeah. Great job.
Let's talk about something different. Let's talk about our biggest revelations.
Mine was just that we find out that Fionn was with Claire and she broke up with him, and that is why he was a hot mess at that party. And clearly Claire's forgettable because I did not remember that or her.
I sure didn't either.
I think this is the first time you find out about that.
It is.
No,
I'm
it
just
is.
saying the first time I read it,
From
I
the
did
first
not
time.
remember that.
Yeah,
Right,
from the
right.
first time reading.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that we learn so much about Claire and still I don't know anything about Anna. That was all I could think about after that section. I was like,
Stuck on this Anna thing.
well, but I mean, like, how much information did we just get about this random bitch, Claire?
I've already forgotten about Anna.
Do you know what I'm saying, though? Like,
Yes,
isn't that
I know,
weird?
I know.
I'm assuming Claire is going to be in Fionn's book.
I
probably.
guess I would
Yeah.
assume
Claire
at least
or
in,
Anna?
like a
Claire.
like a prologue flashback or something.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
I don't know,
probably.
But yes, so that was one revelation. I had two revelations. So one is a revelation that a character had, and one is a revelation that I had as a reader. So the character revelation that I enjoyed is Lachlan realizing with the elevator that she's got like some real deep trauma, some real
Yeah.
PTSD with small spaces, and that realization that she hates him so much because of
Because he
putting
stuck her in a trunk?
Yes, and
Yeah.
like realizing that she wasn't just being a brat when she was like, "Please do not do this to me."
Yes.
Right, and
He
that
even says that he thought I forget what the word was, but it was something like, I thought she was just being obstinate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I thought she was just being a brat and
Yeah.
just trying to, manipulate me or whatever. And he realizes like, oh, this is something really deep that I made worse and didn't realize it. I think this is the point in the book. He says something like I'm an even bigger asshole than I thought that I was before.
Yeah.
And like that saying something like, But I'm glad that he knows that because like I said earlier, he really needs to earn her trust. And now he knows that he needs to earn her trust and understands where she's coming
Even
from.
though he's
So.
the biggest asshole, I'm least scared of him out of the four of these people. Sloane, Rowan, Lark,
I
and
know.
Lachlan, I'm least
It's
scared
because
of him.
I think his outward portrayal is, supposed to be what's the word? Off-putting and
Oh,
His
yeah.
bark is bigger than his bite.
yeah, and I
Yeah,
think
that's
and
true.
the other ones almost look sweet, or maybe not Rowan, but definitely
I don't know, he's
not
a pretty boy.
He is a pretty boy. Well, so like their outward appearances also
Yeah.
don't match.
They hide how depraved they can be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
No,
he's
that's
sort
true.
of like the foil. He's the one that's the complete opposite of that.
That's a good point.
It's always the sweet ones.
Well, and the revelation that I had, just myself as a reader. It's my Irish
I
accent.
know
for you.
these are Irish characters, but let's not do cultural appropriation.
Yeah, I'm part Irish, so technically it's fine. But it made me feel really stupid, but I either forgot or just never put together how much of a he falls first this story is.
Yeah.
Like I just did not put that together. Like I feel like Butcher and Blackbird is very obvious to me.
Yeah.
Like that's a he falls first, right? Like he knows how he feels about Sloane way sooner than Sloane knows how she feels
Yes.
about Rowan.
But I want to bring up when we talked about that book, she gets us so much into Sloane's mind that we
Right.
doubt it like Sloane does.
Well, sure.
Even though he is saying in every chapter that he is like in love with her.
But
Yeah.
for some reason, it's very obvious to me in Butcher and Blackbird. And in this book, I was like, oh, yeah, no, like he's super into her. Like it's very clear.
He falls
I don't know
first.
why I missed it.
Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite tropes.
It's one of mine as well.
That's what I wrote in my notes. His vow at the wedding and the meaningful, intense kiss is basically one giant neon sign that he is like
Yeah.
into her. And I just missed it because I'm an idiot apparently.
Who
But
fell
I love
first,
it.
you or Robbie?
Probably me, honestly.
What about you, men?
I feel like Darren and I, it was sort of Darren and I kind of are insta love. Like I think we both sort of felt the very first time we saw each other.
Once we started dating, we were too, but we came across each other at school sooner than this frat party where we really met, and like he doesn't remember that we met at all, and I was like lasered in for like a month before
You were
he
like, I
realized
want
who
that.
I was.
So because I'm kind of
want to go
dead
to
inside, I never fall first, but I definitely fell first for Brian.
Aw.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
That's
It was
nice.
meant to be, you all.
It is. We
Okay.
live our own romances.
I know. Our bad romance. No, I'm kidding. My romance is great. We're 23 years solid. We're good.
Well, yeah.
I didn't say my biggest revelation.
Oh,
did you
I'm
finish
sorry.
yours?
I did,
Okay.
yeah.
I have 3. Again, this is just.
This might be the one time that I only have one for pretty much everything.
Am I looking at the right notes? Yeah. Okay. So my first one is that Lark's family is in it deep. We find out that they're smuggling weapons within their muffin empire because, yes, baked goods can make a lot of money, but smuggling weapons makes a lot more money, right? And we already know they're kind of mafia-esque just from like the cleanup and stuff from the beginning of the book.
Right.
But you learn that they are doing some illegal shit.
Yeah.
Then I wanted to say that Lark must have an insane amount of money that like her family's just giving her to be able to pour a coffee table full of resin. As an artist, I can tell you that stuff is about $40 a gallon.
That's
So
a
that
lot.
coffee table was a couple $1,000s probably for her to make. A gallon of liquid does not go very far.
And
Yeah.
maybe I didn't read it right, but in my mind, she had basically like a faucet of it that was just coming.
Yeah.
out.
That's how
Yeah.
it reads to me
Right.
too.
Yeah, and so I'm like, dang, she
must
got
have
the
had
hookup.
like, and it has to be continuously mixed.
Yeah.
And it has to like it cures in like 45 minutes. So you have to mix it and then pour it really quickly. So she was actually even so like demented about this that she was like forsaking the craft to like make him sit in it longer. You know what I mean?
Oh my
And so,
gosh.
yeah, I mean, it's fucked up in a lot of ways if you really think about it. And then speaking of her being fucked up, we also learned that even though Lark thinks she hides it well, Sloane and Rowan actually do know how unhinged she is.
Yep.
And they immediately know that she's off to possibly unalive Claire after lunch.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to talk about that more in a minute.
They're like,
but they're
"You
like,
need to go."
They're like, oh, you better get out there, buddy. She's about to fuck some shit up.
Yeah, I did not remember from reading this the first time that Sloane straight up says that ex-boyfriend that cheated on her.
Yeah.
had
We're not sure what happened to
she
him.
She never
Well,
confirmed
because
or
Lark's
denied. I
like-
did not remember
Lark
that.
even says, I think it was in last week's chapters, where she's like, I don't tell Sloane because I'm protecting her. And I'm like,
Yes.
bitch, she knows.
Right, that,
She knows everything you're doing.
I did not remember that detail because I remember thinking the first time I read it how weird it was that Sloane wouldn't be suspicious of anything.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
I found that
Yeah.
very like kind of unbelievable. And now I'm like, oh no, I
Right.
just missed that sentence.
Well, all of Sloane and Rowan's job is details.
Yeah,
like
that's
when
true.
they do like their August showdown, it's all detail oriented. His
That's
job
true,
is
yeah.
detail oriented, so is hers, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of naive of Lark to think that they wouldn't notice what she was doing.
Yeah.
yeah.
And she'd probably feel a lot less lonely if she
I
would
know.
talk to them about it.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what about chapter MVPs?
I'll go because it goes straight back into what I was just saying.
We skipped spicy scene.
Oh, we did?
Oh,
I'm so
I didn't have a
sorry.
spicy scene.
I scrolled down too far on
Okay.
my notes.
Ooh, are you going to tell us what the Irish thing? Because I couldn't
Yes.
figure it out.
Yeah, so
Okay.
my favorite spicy scene was actually what Lachlan says to, it's not spicy, but it's very, very
Made your
sweet.
panties drop a little bit.
Yes, a little bit. Now, I am not going to try to pronounce this in
Do
Irish?
it. Do
Can
No.
we get Sam Hewen in here?
Oh, wouldn't that be amazing? So thank you to Google Translate.
I googled
So
this too.
I just typed it in, and but I just had to know what he said, and it's so sweet. It translates as, "I promise to be a faithful husband to you as long as we live together."
yeah.
Aww.
That was
I
actually my
know.
spicy scene too.
Oh,
And
yeah?
I said not spicy but sweet, and related to my he falls first revelation. Yeah,
He
that's
could
just
have said, "You're a vengeful, ugly bitch."
He
in
could have
Irish,
said
Right.
and I would have been
anything.
like, "That is so sweet, you
know.
guys."
well, and the fact that he says it in
Is it Gaelic?
Gaelic?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess
assume so,
Irish
yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
a
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
language.
it's
I'm sorry,
Gaelic.
it's Gaelic.
Yeah, the fact that he says it in Gaelic, which is very meaningful to him, right? Like he didn't have to do that. He
Yeah.
could have just said whatever, generic vows
put my
they
tongue
have
in
at
your
the
mouth.
at the courthouse, right? And then he kisses her with like intention.
Yes.
And like he didn't have to do that. I appreciate that he is showing signs that he's taking this marriage seriously,
He's all in.
even though it's quote fake, right?
Well, now that you say that too, speaking of Sam Hewen, this does remind me a little bit of Outlander. I watched the wedding episode from season 1 a few days ago, and even Jamie says to Claire, he said, "I knew when you kissed me like that, you must have not been that sad about marrying me." And it's the same moment
It
here.
is,
Yeah.
yeah. That's a good connection. Good nerdy connection, Deb.
I am a nerd.
Well, let's talk about chapter MVPs.
Yeah, you were
Now we
ready
can.
to- yeah,
now
now we
I'm
can.
ready. Okay, so my chapter MVP is Lark's vengeful side. So I wrote down everything just in like those 2 pages that Rowan and Sloane bring up. So we find out she glitter bombed Rowan's car for making Sloane cry when he told her to leave in book 1.
Yeah.
And he said it's been a year and he still finds glitter every day, which
Every
I love.
day, yeah.
I love. We find out that Lark wrote "skanky cum bucket" on every piece of clothing of an enemy of her friend. So an enemy called her friend a skanky cum bucket. So she wrote
Not
on
even her. Yeah.
Right. And so she wrote it even on the girl's underwear, which
Yes.
I loved.
Yeah.
We also find out she semi-permanently glued the words "cheating bitch" and sequins on the girl's face that fucked her boyfriend.
Yep.
Then we find out she blows up her cheating boyfriend with fireworks, which
Yep.
is one of the first scenes in this
Yes.
book. And then finally, she plans to slice off Claire's face and glitter bomb her closet. Because she's like, you know what would be worse than slicing off her face? Getting glitter all over her fucking clothes. Which, I mean, for a girl that's like super into her looks, which it sounds like Claire is, that would be like the biggest travesty, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It
Fuck
would
up my
be-
face, glitter bomb my clothes.
It would be beyond infuriating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like Lachlan walked into that alley and almost gave her an idea. He's like, you can't cut her face off. And she's like, you can live without a face.
It's not necessary.
Lark is all about the gold stars, but man, she can fuck some people
Oh,
up.
yeah.
So yeah, her vengeance is my chapter MVP.
Yeah, that's pretty good. who or what was your chapter MVP?
My
Mindy?
chapter MVP was Lachlan.
Yeah.
Just because for as much as he tries to tell himself that he doesn't want this with Lark, he knows the assignment and he is doing it not just out of a place of self-preservation. Like
Yep.
he's all in. He's like, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that sort of
dedication.
Thank you. I cannot find my words tonight.
I did love it though when he's like, we probably need to practice, and she's like, if you mean get naked, no.
Not doing that with you.
That
I will
would
say
help.
it would have made them feel more connected.
It would have
was.
helped a lot.
They could have like angry fucked each other.
I was going to say, yeah, I would have taken a lot
but
of
then
the
the
edge
book
off.
would have been over a lot faster, and that wouldn't have been as fun. So
Yeah. Well, my chapter MVP this week is who you guys picked last week. I wanted to save it for this week, Ethel,
I love
because I don't know. I wanted to save her as
Is
my
this the
MVP.
aunt?
The aunt,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
crazy Aunt Ethel. You know, the whole plan for Lark and Lachlan to get married is Ethel's brainchild, right? And I love that she just like shows up to this courthouse wedding, and Lark is like, "Why are you here?" Lark has no idea that she's going to be there, but it's a great move because that's going to be a great, basically like character witness is what I wrote in my notes. Like Aunt Ethel being there to support Lark will help validate this wedding and
Right.
give it
Oh, I didn't
legitimacy
think
about
to
that.
Lark's family and the ring too. Like Lark was really kind of upset. Like, please don't give this to me. Like, not for
Not
a
for
fake
this
wedding,
wedding,
right?
yeah.
But that's going to make it seem that much more real to her
Right.
family, right? Which we're going to see in a couple of sections. Them go meet her family, but I just thought it was really sweet that Ethel gave her that ring and that she shows up for her to support her, even though this is all quote unquote fake, right?
Right.
Ethel's
Like,
pulling all the strings in the
She
back.
really
she
is.
100% is
she really
I wanna
is
be that
the
kind of
puppet
matriarch.
master.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, and I love how Lachlan like finds her hilarious.
Oh, I know.
And
she finds him so
Yes,
charming.
I feel like they're like best friends now,
Yes.
Ethel and Lachlan, and he's like, "Yes, ma'am, ready to stir shit up."
She
Let's do it."
also is the grumpy family member.
She is.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's
She
true.
is. She's kooky and crazy, and I really enjoy her a lot.
All together kooky.
Yeah. Who did you guys pick for your secondary character?
Well, circling back to Lark's revenge,
No.
my favorite secondary character was her revenge pranks. So when same thing you were talking about when they're Sloane and Rowan are just recounting all the ways that she likes to get revenge. Like I immediately wanted to be best friends with Lark. Like I'm like let's.
I don't want to piss her off.
I was going to say you want her
No,
on
I
your
want
side.
I want to plan things with
I
her.
have been friends with you all for a long time, and I've pissed you off a couple times. But if I would be so scared to piss her off because she would cut my face off.
I just want to
Me
go
too.
glitter bomb some cars with her. Hell yeah.
I'll do that with you, and I'm not going to cut your face off.
But it got me thinking, like, what are some really good, like, if I was going to get together with Lark, what would be my, like, revenge prank?
Oh, like what would you want to do with her?
Yes. So you can actually, in real life, have a glitter bomb sent to someone's house. And there are some other really weird and messed up things you can send to your nemesis for revenge. So if you want a good revenge prank, I've got you covered with some
Can
suggestions.
I just say that one time I had a customer have me send a wooden bag of dicks to someone?
Love it. There is one of those similar on this list as well. So I got all these from an article called The Strangest Things You Can Have Mailed Anonymously. And the website is called smellmythongs.com.
Whitney, is that where you sell your socks?
Yeah, it's my side hustle.
So, cousin of the glitter bomb, you can send someone a box of sand that will inevitably get into every crevice of their home and in their butt crack. Because, like,
Sand
I
is the
cannot
worst.
do sand.
Yeah, that sucks.
So that's similar to the glitter bomb. It's just not as sparkly. It might be a little more chafing, though. The next one I found, this one is just gross. And I don't know if it's like legit or what, but you can send a used underwear prank envelope.
I know what you're getting for Christmas.
Yes, you can order in 2 varieties: used thong or smell my boxers. Whitney's face.
Used thong.
A used thong is so much worse than used briefs.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like
They don't
in
call
there.
it butt plugs.
It is all up in your junk.
So yeah, that
No, thank
would
you.
be.
All
I
on
would.
your pleated rim.
I do not want to receive one of those.
Please don't ever send that to me.
This one's not much better. There is an online store called Poop Senders where obviously you can send someone some poop. The varieties include cow, elephant, and gorilla. Or you can choose a combo pack.
Like a genuine poop or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a replica.
When I checked out their site, because this is an actual site you can go to, they were having a trick or turd sale. By the way, I'm linking all of these in the show notes. So if you want to get your revenge, trick or turd sale.
We have a P.O. box for a reason.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
please.
It's for shit like this, so shit doesn't come
What
to
is
our
the
house,
trick
literally.
then? If turd is the other option.
I don't know.
It's runny.
The next one I found was called troll cakes. And this is where basically you take an internet comment from a troll and then you make it into cake. Like they put it
Like an image on a cake?
either an image or they like just write it out with
Oh.
like icing.
Like swirly
Yeah,
frosting.
they box it up and they send it to the troll who said it along with a copy of the original post or comment. So there were some examples online of it, and some of the past customers' cakes are "You Donkey Witch," "Sloppy Butt," and this is my favorite: "I wish Judge Judy would curb stomp you."
I would not fight Judge Judy.
No. So
that's
similar to
great.
what Deb was able to do, so you can also send someone a bag of dicks from Dicks by mail. But I suggest you order it from Deb instead.
Yeah.
They're gummy penises though, so you would have to actually eat a bag of dicks
Mine
to
stay-
enjoy the
eat a
candy.
bag of
My
dicks,
wooden ones stay hard.
This one was
I guarantee it.
this one was intriguing. Middle finger mail. So it's basically just a cutout of a middle finger, and then you can choose from regular or X-ray.
X-ray.
Yeah, like so it's like a
Like a
skeletal.
skeleton?
Yeah. And you can also add glitter or a custom message to those.
That's so nice.
Yeah, right?
Skeletons
Do you
for spooky
remember
season.
when we tried to get glitter bomb your husband with his card?
And he fucked it up.
He fucked it up because
figured it out.
He's an engineer and he's like, why won't this stop playing? And he like slowly opened it and saw all the glitter inside. And I was like, son of a
He
fucking
fucking
bitch.
ruined it.
If anyone deserves to be glittered, it's Darren.
You hear that, Darren?
Yeah.
In a loving way, obviously.
Okay, this one is just, in my opinion, maniacal. So these are called stank prank candles. They start out smelling nice, but turn foul as they burn. So you
Oh.
could call it a slow burn prank. So they do come in different varieties as well, such as apple pie to dirty fart,
Oh, no.
Oh
Fresh-
my God, I have to get my teenagers on these for his
fresh
birthday.
roses to sweaty butt crack,
Ew.
and vanilla to vomit.
Oh, that would be horrible.
Yeah.
I'm Googling stank prank
That's pretty.
candles.
All of these
I
companies
don't
have
know if
great
that's
names.
I don't know if that's the name of it, but I did link it in the show notes. So
That's pretty great.
yeah.
That's hilarious.
Okay, and then finally, you just need to do yourself a favor and Google prank postcards because there are so many of these. There's so many good ones. Like people put like a dildo ad or a butt plug or a brothel ad on a postcard like that you send in the mail, and you get this postcard for like, hey, dildos on sale or whatever. One of them was a
Who do I hate right now?
I know, right? One of them's a herpes patients wanted ad.
Oh.
STD results. And my favorite one said, congratulations, you're a winner. And it said, number one bitch. I had so much fun looking these up, y'all. I'm like you. I was like, ooh, who do I really dislike
I know,
right
that's
now?
hilarious to me that there are so many different options.
Yes, you have options, people, if you want to do some revenge pranks.
I did find a stank prank candle on Amazon. It goes from apple orchard to flatulence.
Yeah, that's
Similar to apple pie to dirty fart.
Okay,
Yeah.
here's the thing, too. It's 2 ounces of apple, 6 ounces of flatulence.
Oh.
So, if it was me, I'd be like, where is that smell coming from? I have to light this candle, and I would keep
Yeah.
adding to the smell.
Oh. Yeah, I feel like that would take a while to figure out.
Yeah,
That's-
what's going on here?
Well, my secondary character went in a very different direction. I said Rowan and all his blubbering sweetness at the
I
wedding.
know.
I just enjoyed it. It
He
was
was
really
a
sweet.
sweet.
I liked it a lot. He just loves Sloane too much, and I think it's cute. So that was my favorite secondary character.
Mine was Irish whiskey.
I love it.
And again, we didn't even put this in the shit that Lark or Sloane does. It's used against Lachlan as punishment for not listening to Sloane when she told him to dance with Lark at the wedding. So she gives it to sweet blubbering Rowan, who gets wasted at the wedding and just sings Irish songs all night. I loved it so much because Rowan's already fucking crying, and then you get him drunk, and he's on the microphone. He's going, "I fucking love you, Sloane."
That's my wife.
She's mine. She murders people with me.
That reminds me so much of one time when I was traveling in England. This was when I was in college, and we were doing a whole theater tour, and we ended up in this we were staying in this weird hotel that literally looked like
a hostel.
No, it would look like a brothel is what it looked like. Like all the fixtures and the wallpaper, it just looked very brothel-esque. Anyways, but they had a little bar downstairs, and of course, at the time, not all of us were 21, but you only have to be 18 to drink in England. So we were all down in the bar and we were drinking, and there was this other group of, I think they might have been football players, but soccer players. I can't remember. They were an athletic team, anyways. But we're all drunk, right? And these athletes get on the microphone and start singing Danny Boy and really bad.
Oh, Danny Boy?
Yes. Oh, Danny Boy. Yes. And we're all in this big circle, with our arms around each other, swaying to Danny Boy.
It's like
hilarious.
that episode of Schitt's Creek where Moira starts singing it at a funeral or something random. Yeah. Oh, Danny Boy. Oh,
yeah,
man.
that was fun.
What was
Good
that?
time.
You heard.
I'll be able to rewind it and put it on a loop.
Yeah, that's all we get.
That's going into your card.
What were your favorite quotes from these chapters? I narrowed it down to 2.
Mine goes with my whole theme of this episode, and it's Lark. I don't know if it's Rowan or Sloane, but they say, Lark doesn't just have a spiteful streak. She takes the idea of retribution and turns it into a full-on glitter parade of vengeance.
I love it.
Yeah.
It goes with our cocktail, too.
It does. Yeah. Glitter
bomb.
Parade of Vengeance. There's the title for the episode right there. Glitter Parade of Vengeance.
Done.
Well, I have 2. One is Lark and Lachlan's exchange, and then the other favorite quote is Sloane and Rowan's exchange with each other. So Lark and Lachlan's, I really enjoyed Lark saying, "I'm sorry for whatever happened to you, but you really are a dumbass." And then Lachlan says, "Just the compliment every guy's dying for." I enjoyed that a lot. And then the Sloane and Rowan from the wedding, Sloane says, "You kind of cleaned up okay yourself, though I'm a bit disappointed you're not in a velveteen jacket onesie." And Rowan says, "It could use a wash." It says he squeaks that out, and that's
crying.
That's how it sounds to me.
I wanted to bring it. I could.
It could use a wash. I just enjoyed that a lot. So. Mindy, what was your favorite quote?
Well, okay, this one I do have 3. Because the quotes is what always gets me.
Normal. Yeah, they're all good.
The quotes always get me. I can't ever narrow them down. Actually, I'd probably have 20, but so you're getting the narrowed down version here. My first one is an exchange between Fionn and Lachlan, and Fionn says, "I'm a doctor, you wanker. Observational skills are kind of my thing." And Lachlan says, "So are crochet and a shocking inability to say no to dumb shit." I just love their brother vibe.
Yeah, me too.
And then my last 2 are Lark. One's a funny one and one's a sweet one. I don't know if it's sweet, but it's more poetic. So the first one is, "Your sense of intuition is about as functional as tits on a rock."
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
I'm pretty sure she was talking to Lachlan on that one.
She definitely was.
And then I think this was maybe when she was working on the table. But she says to herself, there's beauty in terror when it sparks to life in dark souls. So poetic. I just love that line. It just took me, to a different level on that.
Yeah. Bryn Weaver is really good at
she's
writing.
a
She can
wordsmith.
write something like tits on a rock and then
come out with that. Yeah.
Like she's just, everything that she says and the way that she says it is just very like artistic and creative and really well thought out. I feel like she does a really good job. Well, I was just about to tell you my quotes again, but I already did. That brings us to questions. I already shared one of my questions, which is why do I know so much about Claire and not about Anna? But one of my other questions, Lark tells Patrick, is the predator teacher. She tells him that it's her wedding day and the third worst day of her life behind gruesome deaths and intense trauma. And obviously I think the intense trauma is her own predatory teacher, right? And the abuse that she had. My question though is like, exactly what two things are they, like specific events that you're talking about? And I wonder how she would rank them. You know what I mean? Like what would be number one, what would be number two? And I wondered if the gruesome death is her dad, because we know that he died and that her stepdad is a stepdad, right? That was curious to me, and I don't know that we'll ever get that answer.
Think about that.
Nor does it really matter for the sake of the story, but it just got me thinking. And then Lark is so intense, and Deb, I think you mentioned this earlier. She's so intent on keeping her killing a secret from Sloane to, quote, keep her safe. But why does she think Sloane would be in danger if Sloane knew what Lark does? Because Lark knows what Sloane does. Does she think that she herself is in danger because she knows about Sloane? You know what I mean? Like, where exactly is that coming from? Why does she think that? Know. I don't fully understand the thought process, I guess.
I do wonder if it has something to go back to, because she said that Sloane would never have to, what's the word, she like protect her again like she did in boarding school. So I wonder if she thinks keeping it from her would never put her in a situation where
she would have to do that again.
If Sloane knew that Lark was killing people, she would want to help or...
Well, no, I'm saying like if Sloane got kidnapped and tortured and didn't know about Lark stuff, then that's Lark kind of keeping her safe, right? Lark is like not letting Sloane in on the dirtiest part of her life because she already did, and she said she would never do that again.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I just...
know. Might be putting my own trauma into that.
Never. No, but it's curious to me, like, where exactly does that come from? Is that just like an anxiety thing, or is there something that happened that made her feel that way? Kind of like...
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
But those were my questions.
So we find out later, but I remember the first time I read this, and if the listeners are reading it for the first time, I was like, what is the sudden smell from the coffee table?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I was totally like, I knew the whole time.
But you wouldn't think that it would be that smelly so sudden.
Yeah.
Resin.
I don't know anything about resin, so I definitely was like, well, duh.
It's a block of, like, it's thick matter. You know what I mean? So,
is it hot when you have? Does you have to warm it up to pour it on?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was wondering if it was like burning flesh.
It gets warm as it like cures though.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it was. And then my other question is, what are the numbers that Lark keeps reciting?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So it's 2, 24, 3, 18, 5, 39, 6, 12, 6, 52.
Yeah.
So she's saying them in the elevator, and then she's singing them once she gets out of the elevator. So it's some sort of coping mechanism for her. But I'm interested to find out what they are.
I definitely don't remember anything about
it. It reminded me of Lost, and it's not the same numbers. I
know. I remember that too.
Because we find out later how much she likes the movie Constantine. So I'm like, maybe she just likes pop culture, and it's the Lost numbers.
The Lost numbers, that wouldn't be out of character.
Yeah, I'd like to know that too, actually.
Yeah.
The only thing I had questioned was it's such a little thing, but at the wedding when Sloane and Rowan are talking about the dragon onesie, they say that Fionn blushes and mumbles something about sports.
Yeah, that's got to come out in the next book.
Yeah, for real. Because I'm like, huh?
When they were talking about the dragon
They're talking about the dragon onesie. And
I didn't catch that.
He said that Rose starts laughing, and then Fionn mumbles something about sports.
Yeah.
Oh, I totally missed that.
Yeah, it was. Well, it wasn't a big thing, like I said, but it stuck out to me. I'm like, I think it was the sports. I was like, where's that come in? Like, what?
Yeah.
Because that's not even...
Because I was thinking, like, I do it for sport, or
or something.
Right.
But
I'm really interested to see if the third book has the wedding scene from their point of view.
That would be really cool, actually.
I hope it does, actually.
I do too, because we got to see some of Sloane and Rowan's perspective.
These glitter bombs are
And-
really heavy.
And Lark and Lachlan's like, what are Fionn and Rose doing?
Yeah.
While Lark and Lachlan are like, we have to get married or you're going to die.
Yeah.
On the dance floor, That's interesting. Hopefully we'll get to see that. Well, that brings us to what we're looking forward to.
Mine is Lachlan finding out that Lark is a multiple deleter.
Oh, I know.
I just think that
for
part's so funny.
Yeah.
That's like a great scene.
Yeah,
It
really
is. Yeah.
I just want to relearn what makes Lark tick. Like, she's still, at this point in the book, pretty closed off. And she's definitely not all that she seems or portrays.
For sure.
And there's so many layers to her that, I know she has lots of layers, but I'm like loving rediscovering all those layers.
Why she is the way that she is. Yeah. I'm looking forward to Lachlan earning Lark's trust and the relationship slowly becoming like a real relationship and not just the arrangement. So slow burn, enemies to lovers.
Forced proximity.
It's happening. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to talk about? Because I do have a deep dive, but I want to make sure we talk about your all stuff first.
I'm actually really excited about your deep dive.
I am too. I will preface that I am PMSing and this made me cry when I was researching. So I'm really going to try not to get upset about it because I was telling it to Robbie about it and I like started crying while I was explaining it. And he was like, oh my gosh, like, get it together.
A few years ago, I came home and I looked at Brian and I said, I think I'm PMSing. And he goes, why? And I said, I pulled into the post office and Everlong by Foo Fighters was on and I just started fucking bawling. And I was like, you do have to tell her not to stop until you say when. God. Like, I'm like fucking ugly
so
crying.
right. Oh,
You've
man,
got
that's
it,
funny.
Dave Grohl. Stop cheating on your wife.
Well, for real. Yeah. So this really took me on a journey and I'm excited to share it with you guys. So here's where I started out. I started out with seeing that Lark has her dog, an American Akita. And I thought, I don't know what that is. I want to look that up. And I started thinking about, those like BuzzFeed articles that like what your dog says about you. And so I was trying to find what it would say about you if that is the kind of dog that you have, right? Like, what does it tell us about Lark? That's where I started. All right. And so it really took me on a journey. So here's where we go. So I am going to start off with the first fact that I found about the American Akita, which is something that I never, ever would have guessed in a million years.
Okay.
The Akita breed is actually from Japan and made its way over to America in the 1930s through a celebrity endorsement by Helen Keller.
What?
Is that not the most
I'm happy
random?
to know that Helen Keller was getting endorsements.
Dude. The most, I was like, excuse me, Helen Keller. What now?
But what was she like? Hey, bring your own Akita over
That's
here.
what I was wondering too, right? So I just went to this page that was like the American Akita, and that was like the first thing that it said, and I was like, freaking Helen Keller, like what? So then I googled Helen Keller and this Akita thing, like what is up with that? I wrote on my notes. To that I said, huh? Like, what? So in 1937, Helen Keller was in Japan and visited a little village that is called Akita Prefecture, where Akita dogs are originally from, I guess. So while she was there, this article that I was reading said that she asked about Hachiko. And in the article, this is how it said. She asked about Hachiko, the famed Akita who died in 1935. So then I said,
Who's that?
I was like, a famed Akita who died. Like, what are you talking about? So then I looked that up. So here's the story.
You're going to talk about dogs dying. I'm going to cry
Hachiko,
too.
no, it's really sweet. So Hachiko was an Akita dog that was born on a farm in that small village in Japan, Akita Prefecture. So Hachiko was taken by his owner to Tokyo, where his owner was a professor. So this professor would walk with Hachiko to the train, get on the train, go to work. And then every afternoon, Hachiko would walk to the train station at the right time every single day and meet his owner when his owner got off the train, and they would walk back home together, right? Like, isn't that sweet? Okay. So every single day for 2 years, Hachiko would walk to the train station on time to greet his human when his owner got off the train, and they would go home together, right? So This is going to take a sad twist for a second. So unfortunately, one day the professor had a cerebral hemorrhage while he was teaching and died at work.
Oh no.
And so sweet Hachiko.
I like how Mindy was like,
I know.
No, Mindy's
I
like,
know.
the dog's not going to die, is it? And then we find out this guy dies, and we're like, oh.
Well, so sweet Hachiko was waiting for him at the train station, and he never came home because he died at work, right? So this man, the professor, had a gardener who like took the dog in and like kept him and rehomed him basically and took care of him. Every single day for almost 10 years, Hachiko walked to the train station every single afternoon and waited for his owner to get home from work. Every single
You're really bringing
day.
down the episode.
I'm telling
today.
you, like crying at my computer, like I just wanted to know what it says about Lark. Like, I could not believe this. So 9 years, 9 months, and 15 days until Hachiko himself died. He walked to the train station every single afternoon to wait for his human to come home. So the gardener had taken him in, and when his owner was alive, lots of people also taking this train, like they saw them walking together, right? So they knew who this dog was. They knew what had happened with his owner, whatever. So as they continued to see Hachiko keep coming to the train station, they started to bring him food and like kind of help take care of him and play with him and show him affection and stuff. And then it kind of turned into this human interest story. And articles got written about this dog, you know, like this super loyal dog coming to the train station every day, waiting for his, you know, dead owner. You know, it's a really great story, really. And so more and more people started to know who this dog was and what the situation was and started to take care of him when they saw him at the train station. So this professor had been a professor of agriculture, and one of his students decided to focus on the Akita breed as a focus of research and discovered that at the time there were only 30 Akita purebred dogs left in Japan and presumably the world because they were native to Japan.
Right.
So there really weren't very many dogs. So he used Hachiko's story of loyalty to kind of bring awareness to this breed of dogs and get interest in that animal so that they would not just like die off, right? And it really worked and saved the whole breed. So Hachiko really became a national sensation in Japan. His faithfulness to his master's memory impressed the people of Japan as a spirit of family loyalty that everyone felt they should strive to achieve. Teachers and parents use Hachiko's vigil or you know, symbol as an example for children to follow with loyalty. There is an artist who rendered a sculpture of Hachiko, and throughout the country, people started to know about this dog and want this kind of dog for themselves, right? Because it was so loyal. So eventually, Hachiko's faithfulness became a national symbol of loyalty, particularly to individual people and to the institution of emperors, which of course the government was like, hey, we would like you to be loyal to us. You know what I mean?
And is this the type of dog that Lark has?
Yes.
This
makes so much
Lark's
sense.
dog.
The
Yes.
loyalty.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Lark's dog. So Hachiko died at the age of 11, which they found out after the fact that he had cancer that no one realized he had. It's the 1940s, right? So most people wouldn't know stuff like that about
There wasn't
their pets.
GoFundMe for your dog.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when Hachiko died, they buried Hachiko next to his owner's grave that he had spent all those years going to the train station waiting for. So Hachiko was and still is really a cultural icon in Japan. There are statues. There was a recording of his bark that was played nationally, like over a radio special thing, which I thought was like super crazy. There was a movie made in America in 2009 made about Hachiko. There is a minibus that runs in Japan called the Hachiko bus. And just last year, it was his 100th birthday, and they had a holographic display of Hachiko installed at the Akita Dog Visitor Center in Akita Prefecture, that same village that Helen Keller went to visit in Japan, greeting the guests who came by to celebrate his birth, which I'm like, that was last year, 100 years later, and they're still like talking about this dog, right? So in 2016, officials added the name of the professor's life partner. They weren't married, but they were together. Added that woman's name to Hachiko's gravesite to show that the loyal dog had two keepers that he loved. It wasn't just the professor, it was also his partner. She had lived for years and years. I think she died in her 70s or 80s after the professor had died. And while the gardener took Hachiko in, this partner still visited the dog a lot. And the dog very clearly knew who she was and showed her a lot of affection and was like very sweet with her. And there's a whole section, if you go to the Hachiko Wikipedia Wikipedia page, there's a whole section about cultural references. There's a whole list of like movies, books, video games, and an episode of Futurama, the Adult Swim cartoon that feature or mention or are based on this dog.
Wow.
And I'm like, how have I never heard this story? Like, I know freaking Balto, and I know like
I don't know what that is.
I know like the Iditarod dogs and stuff. Like, I've never heard of this dog in my life, and I feel like dogs had a real moment in like the 90s with movies and stuff, and the Iditarod was like popular for a hot minute, and I'm like, how did I miss out on this dog? I don't know. So Helen Keller visiting Japan and asking about this famous cultural Japanese icon dog eventually led to the American Akita, which led to Bryn Weaver using this dog for Lark in this crazy book about multiple deleters. But doesn't it just make so much sense for Lark to have a dog that is known for that kind of loyalty?
Loyal,
yeah. Isn't that so perfect?
Yes.
So yeah, just the idea of this dog walking to the freaking train station every day for 10 years. Aww. I'm like, this puppy.
And I want to know too, does Bryn Weaver have that type of dog?
That's a great question.
Did she do research to find a loyal dog?
Yeah.
Like, what is it?
Surely she did. Nothing is by accident, right?
So I'm going to ask her.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask her when I'm in Chicago next year.
But yeah, all I was trying to do was find like a cutesy little BuzzFeed article, and I ended up with this like crazy story that made me cry. And Robbie was like, are you okay? No, and the puppy. But anyway, I just thought that was a crazy journey for me and my Googling. So I'm glad I could take you guys on the ride. Is there anything else that we want to talk about with this section?
I'm good. Covered a lot.
I'm good. Shut up now.
Well, see ya.
Next week, we're going to talk about Leather and Lark, chapters 10 through 12. Bye.
Bye.